start with glucose, or C6H12O6, dissolved in water. When you add the yeast, it yields aqueous ethanol, C2H5OH, and carbon dioxide gas. Balance it, and you have the basic equation.
And then, to really see what's going on in the equation, we're going to add the oxidation number so you can understand how the flow of electrons creates the chemical reaction, as we're about to see here.
Alright, so let's add some oxidation states. Oxygen is -2, hydrogen is +1, and carbon is 0. In ethanol, the carbon partially gains 2 electrons. In CO2, 4 of its electrons mostly surround the 2 oxygens. So what does this mean? Well, each compound contains a certain amount of energy. Glucose contains a medium amount. In CO2, the carbon is not capable of donating any more valence electrons. It only has 4. The 2 oxygens can't gain any more. They only need 2 each. Therefore, it has a very low energy level. In ethanol, 2 electrons mainly orbit the carbon. Ethanol actually contains a little bit more energy than glucose, but since CO2 contains so little energy, there's an overall drop in energy. The yeast consumes the extra energy released.
And now we're about to see how the reaction works. So you prepare a small flask of water, and then you put in 1.5 grams of yeast for every liter of water you have. Then add about 100 grams per liter of glucose, and let it settle for a few moments. Then you put a balloon on it to keep it away from the oxygen, because if it has access to oxygen, it'll snuff out the reaction and stop the fermentation and forming the ethanol from taking place. And once you've gotten the balloon on, pull it tight down so that oxygen doesn't leak, and then you have to shake it a few times, because that lets you observe some bubbles maybe, and also it'll get the reaction going a bit faster by getting everything equally dissolved throughout it. And now, the uses of it. So first of all, for ethanol, for alcohol, it's the base of all the alcoholic beverages that are so popular today, like wines, beers, vodkas, all that stuff. And now, the big one, ethanol fuel. There's some pros and cons of this. The pros being that it's renewable, it's domestic, so we don't have to import, and it doesn't require a ton of infrastructure. The cons being it releases just like tons of CO2, which causes all kinds of problems, and it uses a ton of farmland and requires lots of deforestation to form. And then, so you can see there's a debate over whether it's actually that useful, but it can be useful in some ways. And then here's an example of a car that runs off pure biofuel. And it also has some other uses, like home heating systems, like these ethanol fireplaces, the base of lots of antibacterial soaps and hand sanitizers, and they're even testing ethanol fuel for airplanes now to replace traditional jet fuel. So this simple little reaction does all kinds of things for us. And thank you for watching.
You might need to edit that in.
Oh.